Akbar, 1556 to 1605. Akbar was the greatest ruler of the Mughal dynasty and one of the greatest rulers of India. He brought glory to the empire and is so called Akbar the Great. Expansion and consolidation. What did he console out of it? Or what is consolidated towards this huge expansion? Akbar became king in 1556 when he was only 13 years old. Bairam Khan was appointed as Akbar's regent, his advisor, his everything. So Bairam Khan was his main right hand. Soon after coming to power, Akbar defeated Hemu, the general of the Afghan forces, in the second battle of Panipat. A few years later, he ended the regency of Bairam Khan and took over the government himself. Then he conquered Gwalior, Ajmer, Jaunpur. In 1561, he annexed Malwa also. Akbar is the person who offered friendship to the Rajputs. He promised to let them rule peacefully if they acknowledged the Mughal authority. However, he fought against those Rajputs who opposed him. Okay. The Rajputs who made friends with him, it's okay, fine. But who didn't, he attacked them and he fought against them. In 1568, he conquered Chittor and Ranthambore. He defeated Rana Pratap of Mewar in a battle of Haldi Ghati in 1576. Akbar built a vast empire. He conquered Gujarat in the west and Bengal and parts of Odisha in the east. He also annexed large parts of central India. In the northwest, he added Kashmir, Sindh, Kabul, Kandahar to the empire. In the Deccan, he brought Berar, Khandesh and parts of Ahmednagar under his control. Half of India is under him. More than half. Now, Akbar's policies, again it was in his Akbarnama. We had a Babarnama, we had Akbarnama. Tells us about Akbar's reign and his policies. What was his policies? Akbar made the Rajputs strong supporters of the Mughals. He tried to gain their loyalty in many ways. Akbar defeated the Rajputs but did not humiliate them. He treated them very honorably. He allowed most Rajput kings to continue ruling over their territories. He did not interfere in their internal matters. Akbar married into Rajput families. He himself married a Rajput princess called Jodhabai. His sons also took Rajput princes as wives. The Rajput ladies were given complete religious freedom. Akbar gave high post to Rajput chiefs in his administration. Raja Man Singh and Raja Birbal, two of his most trusted officials, were Rajputs. Birbal, his main person, Birbal, advisor of everything, was there, chieftain of his place, of his court. Birbal was his main court person. Birbal, Akbar, lot of stories were Rajputs. Religious policy. What was about his religion? Akbar realized that to establish a strong empire, he had to gain the confidence of his Hindu subjects as well, who were in a majority. Right? He followed a policy of tolerance and mutual coexistence. Akbar treated all his subjects as equal religion. Religion was treated as an individual's private affair. People had the freedom to worship as they liked. Akbar adopted numerous measures to show his secular point. In our constitution, you have the right of religion, the right of belief, right of faith. It's coming down from history only. We are following what Akbar did. Or our constitution is following what Akbar did. Peace and harmony was there. We have created a lot of issues now. Muslims married Hindu girls. Now they are not married. Mughals married them. Akbar abolished the pilgrim tax in 1562 and the jazia in 1564, which for long had been opposed by the Hindus. He abolished the tax. People are taking tax for the Hindus, that pilgrim tax and the jazia. Akbar abolished the practice of forcefully converting prisoners of war to Islam. Prisoners who were there at war, they were made to force to come into Islam. That was stopped. No forcing anyone into any religion. Akbar allowed and sometimes even encouraged the Hindus to build temples. He also gave grants to many temples. See what a nice diversity he made of culture and religion. Akbar participated in many Hindu festivals such as the Holi, Diwali and Raksha Bandhan. Imagine what a nice person he was. Akbar got the holy books of the Hindus and translated them into Persian so that he could read and understand. What else do you need from a best king? That's why he was called the Akbar the Great. Ibadat Khana. Akbar was interested in learning about different religions. He built the Ibadat Khana, hall of worship, Ibadat in Urdu or in Persian, I don't know, at Fatehpur Sikri. Here he held debates and discussions with religious teachers of all religions. Tawhid-e-Ilahi or Din-Ilahi. After interacting with people of different religions for many years, Akbar concluded that all religions preach the message of love, respect and peace. All religions are the same. He felt that if the common ideals of all religions could be combined to form a new creed, the people of his empire would benefit from it. Therefore, he suggested a religious path called the Din-e-Ilahi, divine monotheism, religion of one God. There is only one God. He also declared himself as the spiritual guide of his subjects. Din-Ilahi was a very simple path. It encouraged belief in one God. The practice of worshipping the sun, the fire and other sources of light was an important element in it. Through it also, Akbar also discouraged the killing of animals and the custom of sati. Sul-e-Kul, universal peace or peace with all, Sul-e-Kul, sab, with everybody, was another important principle. Akbar's Din-Ilahi was aimed at achieving peace, tolerance and unity in a country of diverse religions. Some historians say that Din-Ilahi was similar to Ashoka's policy of Dhamma. People have gone, history is coming one after another. Ashoka didn't come, right? Ashoka's Dhamma was there. Din-Ilahi was not a new religion. It did not have any rituals, sacred books, places of worship or priests. It was only a code of moral conduct. How we behave, how we move around is going to say that what we are. Very few people accepted it. But Raja Birbal was one of the few who did. Others such as Raja Mansingh openly disapproved of it. Akbar never forced anyone to follow it. You don't have to follow it. Din-Ilahi faded out after Akbar, but his secular ideas were followed by his son Jahangir. Salim. Jahangir, he came in. So we'll come back in the next video.